Hello and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here today before a Tuesday night council meeting for the purpose of recognizing all of the great volunteers in our annual backpack drive. And this is something that Councilwoman Lisbeth de Jesus started many years ago. We started in Caseby, and since then we've expanded it to other parts of town, and I'm going to let her explain all the details because I don't want to steal her thunder. She's the one that started this, and she's the one that runs this, and she's the one that deserves all the credit. So before we hand out individual proclamations, I'm going to ask Lisbeth to come up and tell you everything you wanted to know about our backpack drive.
Thank you. We started 7 years ago, and I got to say, maybe Dan Harris should come up here with me because he's my partner and so is Howie. We started 7 years ago in Caseby with, at the time, Principal West, who is the former principal at School 25. And it was a way to do community outreach in Caseby, primarily the Latino community. Her students lived out there, and what better way to start the new year, this new school year, but with a backpack and school supplies. So we've said, I made a promise that when I got elected my first year that I would always make sure that every year I go up to Caseby, because I feel it's important to communicate with our community members and let them know that we're there for whatever they may need, and that it's not just a one-time thing, that it's a constant thing. This is a relationship that we've built in Caseby. Dan has been with me since the beginning. This is Howie's ward, so once he came on board, he jumped right in. We've always had the support of the mayor and the administration and the rest of my councilmates, and my goal is, I believe in public education. I believe education is the key to open doors and to reach and be successful in achieving our dreams. And I believe in the children in our district, and I believe that every child has potential to be successful and to become who they dream to be, whatever that may be. So my goal is to every year go to Caseby, and especially this year it was particularly important because after COVID, we don't know the effects that it's had on our children, on our school-age children. We don't know what families we're dealing with. So I thought that it was important not only to go to Caseby this year, go to Hope Lawn and do Jacob's Landing, so that families that perhaps didn't have the necessary tools to make sure that their kids started school with the tools that they needed, that we provided that tool. And I am so thankful and so grateful to each and every one of you that stepped up and listened and said, hey, you know what, we can do this and we can join the effort. So I'm counting on you guys because next year my goal is, I'm very ambitious. So we started in Caseby, we did Hope Lawn, we did Jacob's Landing, which we will do again next year. And then my goal is next year to hit Avenel. Every year we'll expand a little bit to include all the children in Woodbridge Township. And even though it's at these places, any child that comes is welcome to walk away with a backpack full of school supplies, because this way we can ensure that our children in our district are starting the year with the necessary tools and that the parents don't have that extra worry. On the news, COVID has affected everyone in many different ways, but one of the things that I have heard, school supply prices went up this year. And as many of you know, maybe a lot of our parents weren't working because of COVID. Maybe their jobs let them go. Maybe they were laid off for a certain amount of time. So I didn't want that to be an extra burden for parents or an extra burden for the children. I worked really well with Dan Harris, who's a Board of Ed member, and I work extremely well with my counterpart here, Howie Bauer. And like I said, I've always had the support of the mayor, the administration, and the rest of my council. So this is not just my effort. This is a team effort where we come together and supply a need that I feel should be addressed every year. Because like I said, if we can help one child start the year off right, then we would have done our job. And that's just my goal, to ensure that government, the Board of Ed, our council, but government and our community members, which are all of you sitting here and all of you that donated, work together to provide a need in our community, whatever that need may be. So I'm deeply grateful for each and every one of you that stepped up to the plate, and I am counting on each and every one of you next year. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. I'm watching the reactions. They're all on board. Trust me, they're all on board. Real quick, there's about 6 kids living in the apartment complex that burned, and if they had backpacks, they don't anymore. And you went to the school today and dropped a bunch off.
Well, we had dropped off backpacks last year, so I think that they had, but I wasn't able to go there today, but we have extra backpacks, and I told the mayor, I said, well, we have extra backpacks. That apartment fire unfortunately happened, but hey, we can provide this if it's needed. So that's where we come into play, because I think if it's expanded enough that it's not only for back to school, but God forbid there's another tragedy like this fire, that the schools are equipped with backpacks to provide for the children in our district.
Let me ask Councilman Barrow if he'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Councilwoman DeJesus, who's to be my liaison in the second ward. She has a strong passion for this in her heart, but it's not only her, it's a whole family event for her. Her family comes out every year. Her husband, Angel's a DJ, her son, her daughters. This is a family event for her, and she takes it right to her heart. Board of Education member Dan Harris, thank you for all your support, and all our sponsors out there. If it wasn't for you, none of this would be possible. The Hope Lawn Fire Department for letting us use their firehouse this year for the first time. It was a great event. The Casby Fire Department coming out every year supporting all our needs in the community, and my fellow councilmates who are 100% behind us on everything we do in this town. And first and foremost, secondly, I would like to say to the mayor and administration, they back up us on everything that we do in this town, our agendas, our community projects. I'd like to just again thank everyone for everything they do for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Barrow. Board of Ed member Dan Harris, want to say a few words?
Sure, I'll jump in. I think much has been said, but I want to thank Lizbeth for, being my partner on this. I think she's really taken the lead on it, and obviously you can see the passion that comes through her. You should run for the school board with that kind of passion. I love it. Yeah, we have some great advocates. We'll make you the honorary.
I'm not giving her up.
We'll make you the honorary 10th member. I did want to give a shout out to the lady. I'm a staff member by heart, so I never forget the people who are behind the scenes who do this stuff for a living. Megan and Kelly over here, like me, and on a day-to-day basis, do the grunt work, and you guys were tremendously helpful. Lizbeth and I had been doing this sort of by email or by phone over the past, 5 years, I guess? So this year having you two, you guys were phenomenal. And then finally, Lizbeth, you had said this while we were out there. We had never had such an enormous community response. DVRT team was out there. The library was out there. You had said, I don't know if you recall this, you said it feels like a community day. For years in Woodbridge Township, we had Avenel Day, which was a community day event. Port Reading Day is a Saturday at noon to 3 o'clock at the Port Reading Firehouse. So a little shout out there for you, Brian. A little plug for you. So, something Casby, in my time, being elected and being around, Casby often had said to us, we feel like we're the forgotten, section of town. Certainly that was never the case, but we have stepped up and have made that clear 6 straight years that that Casby is not forgotten. And Elizabeth and Howie deserve a great deal of credit for that. So good job to you guys. Thank you very much.
And if I may, I do have to say, I especially want to thank Megan and Kelly and my husband, because, his hobby, he loves music, but I didn't give him a choice. I said, hey, you have to be at these three events, and like me, he's passionate about helping kids in our community, so he was on board. But Megan and Kelly made a difference when they became part of this backpack, because now we're a team, so we call each other the backpack team. And they kind of took my ideas and my wishes, and it just they flew and made it happen. So I'm deeply, deeply thankful for them joining our backpack team, and for Angel always saying yes to any idea that I throw his way. Thank you.
Very good. So we've got some proclamations to hand out. First up, because she comes from the farthest away and has to drive the longest Hackensack Meridian, which up till a couple of years ago was nowhere near Woodbridge, but now you're involved in JFK in Edison, you're involved in Raritan Bay and Perth Amboy. I want to call up Robin Crippa to give you this is one for the wall in the office and for everybody, and this one's personally for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You guys want to come on over here. Lizbeth, why don't you take some pictures? And Howie, you three take some pictures. All right, next up we have Christ AG Church, which is in Ford, so Howie, don't go anywhere. I'd like to call up Pastor Inesh. And thank you. So now tell me just real quick, you guys have been involved in a whole lot of things. You just call us up and say we want to help, and you did the backpack work, you collected all the supplies.
Okay. Hi, I'm Pastor Anish, and I thank God for this beautiful opportunity God has given us once again to come and witness what God is doing. It was a 3 years back, we just started this backpack, which we did it in our school, in our church premise itself. Last year, we could get connected with the councilman and Elizabeth, and I think a couple of other people, and we got placed to do it in Keysby, join hands to do in Keysby. This year, when Kelly and Megan both contacted us that we are going to do in a bigger place, all 3 places, we said, yes, we are in. And it was right in time as we were planning how to do this, and we could work together. And amazingly, we could give out 240 backpacks from our side, and it was good. Right time, we could source it from Chicago. All the material came in one lot, and right in time to distribute. Thank you, Mayor.
It looks like a great team building thing. You all got the same orange T-shirts. You're all helping each other. You're all working together. It's a great team building thing for your congregation.
Yes, yes, Mayor. This was the time we worked as a team and the whole.
All right, well, you get this one.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you also get this one. Then I guess you got a lot of people here, but you might as well all come up.
yes.
Annie Abraham, Satal Patel, Kiran Devabatula, Harati Devabatula, Jocelyn Devabatula, Shalom Devabatula, Raj Kapadasi, Sarath and Luri. Oh, they can't make it, okay. Oh, you guys come over there. Are you gonna get another picture? All right, next up, we're gonna keep this moving. Next up, we have Evangel Woodbridge Church. This is the former Metro Park Assembly of God. Pastor Leslie Samuel has been a longtime friend of Woodbridge. He has done tooling around. He's done so many different events in town, and he came to us and wanted to get involved in this. So, of course, we joined forces. His church merged with Evangel Church in Scotch Plains. I have that right. And now they're also known as Evangel Church, but they're still on Berkeley and Cooper in Island, a block off of Green Street. And I can't just say, this Sunday, Pastor Samuel's congregation is going to 15 different houses in Woodbridge. They're doing their own little version of it's 15 houses, tooling around the town, and they're going to go out. We got lists from Michelle Morgan, from the seniors who are homebound, who can't afford it and can't get it done. And I wish he was here. He's just fantastic. So I don't know your name, but will you please come up and present this proclamation to Pastor Samuel? And this is a little certificate for him. What's your name?
Melinda Cora.
Melinda Cora. Do you want to say anything?
Sure. So I've been a member of Evangel Church for over 10 years now, and what I appreciate about this congregation is that we are truly changed lives, changing communities. So when we think about efforts like this, like backpack outreaches and going out, as you mentioned, Mayor, in service for service, we're not meant to just sit in pews. We're meant to go out there and help where we can. So this was just a great opportunity, and I know Pastor Leslie couldn't be here, but he asked that I join and accept this on his behalf, so many thanks on his behalf.
Thank you. Just step on over there if you don't mind. Okay, next up, the Colonia High School Black Student Union. Would you please come on up? Alicia Davidson, you are the head of the union?
Yes.
What grade are you in? What's,
I'm not in a grade. I'm a teacher.
how am I doing? How am I doing now?
All right.
This is for you. I don't know what.
Don't worry, you're
you can-
camera shy because we've done a lot of events together.
I know who you are. No, I know who you are. I knew exactly what I was doing. Miss, that's you. This is Rachel Sanchez. She's an advisor also.
She's my mom.
Oh, she's your mom. All right. And the students are Kennedy Goncalves, Jasmine Turkson, Madison Rosario, Corinne Armand, Ashley Massano, Catherine Albuquerque, Haral Parikh, and Najeri Wawuru. So if you will pass that along, you want to say anything real quick?
Sure. Colonia High School started the Black Student Union last year during the pandemic, and this effort was an initiative that they wanted to be a part of. Philanthropy and education is at the forefront of our club, so they wanted to make sure that they can contribute and donate back to the community. And on behalf of my mother, she is a Caseby resident. I am a
I was
student.
just going to ask you what's the connection. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
She's a Caseby resident. I grew up in Caseby. I'm a teacher in Colonia. My sister attends JFK, so we are Woodbridge, and we love this community, and we're thankful that you guys are having this today.
Great. Come on over. Next up, the Woodbridge Public Library, which I tell you under Monica Eppinger has been absolutely terrific. They come to everything. We've got Anna, we've got Nadja, and we've got Nicole here. Allie's not here, and some other ones are not here. But they go to everything. They go to every senior club, every community day, you name it. They're always out, whether it's a kid event, a senior event, a family event, whatever it is, they're there. So Monica, if you would come up and accept the proclamation. And ladies, if you're not too shy, please come on up and get into the picture. And Monica, you want to say anything real quick?
I just want to thank Councilwoman and Dan Harris for making sure that the library was included in this event. Also Kelly and Megan, who made sure we knew everything that was happening. And we think the library card is the most important thing in everyone's backpack, but all those other things are important too. So we're happy to help.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And I guess this is, last but not least, the Woodbridge Township Domestic Violence Response Team, which is just a tremendous asset for Woodbridge Township. We have the best team around, and I mean that sincerely. They are people who, it's not easy to volunteer for the DVRT. You've got to go through significant training.
Which we're doing now.
Which you're doing now, 40-plus hours each. And they've got to give up 12-hour shifts to be home and not out and available should a call come in. You're right on it. It's an amazing group. They're always at the street fairs. They're always at different township events. And now they're actually involving themselves, not only putting themselves out there so people know who you are, but you're also contributing, and I think that's terrific. So let me ask Kathy Stamato if you would like to say a few words.
Not really.
No, really. How about, I don't know your name, but.
Antoinette Outwater.
Oh, there you go, Antoinette. Oh, no, I've heard that name. I've given you proclamations before.
I do want to say something.
Oh, then do, go ahead.
Unfortunately, last night, we lost a very valuable team member that was on
Oh, yeah, Donna, yeah.
was on our team for over 25 years. And it's with a heavy heart that I accept this, but I'm going to accept it in Donna's memory.
Fair, very fair. Thank you very much. All right, step over. And now, that's everything, right, Kelly and Megan? That's all of them? All right. Next up, we have one more proclamation to, or one more presentation to make, I should say. For how many years now, Assemblyman? 12th year that Assemblyman Craig Coughlin has done Bowl for Hunger. It started 12 years ago, small. It's grown, it's grown. This year, they've had 2 shifts. I think a couple years ago, they had to go to 2 shifts because of the demand for people to come and participate. I follow the state budget fairly closely. I'm a junkie, so I read everything. And when it comes down to the end of the budget and people are jockeying for support for different things, Craig Coughlin is not jockeying for support for things that are going to benefit himself. Craig is jockeying and negotiating for hunger causes. I can let him explain the different ways he's done that, but for the last several years, he has actually used his clout not only as an assemblyman, but as the Speaker of the General Assembly, where you have, believe me, I was there for 4 years, you have a quite significant amount of clout when you have that position. And he has lobbied to put money in that budget every year for hunger causes. He has passed legislation for hunger causes. He just does a phenomenal job. That is his pet cause. That's his passion, helping the people in need. The worst thing to do is go to bed hungry, and Craig works very hard to make sure that doesn't happen in his 5 towns of his district. So, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Craig Coughlin, would you please come up? All yours.
Thank you, Mayor. You didn't ask me what grade I was in. But thank you all. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. And to all the other honorees, to the DVRT, to the Black Student Union League, Union, and to all the folks who did the backpack. Congratulations, Lisbeth. Always a great job. And to all the people who volunteered to make these things such a success. It really is part of the incredible fabric that is Woodbridge Township. And so you all make it better. I had the chance to work with DVR members in Edison when I was a municipal court judge years and years ago, and municipal court judges get the calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, but so do DVR team members. So thank you for that. As the mayor kindly pointed out, we all of us, I think, are touched by the fact that we know that too many people go to bed hungry in this wealthy state, in this incredibly wealthy state that we live in, and so. 11 years ago, 12 years ago now, we just had our 12th, we started what we call Bowl for Hunger, and the mayor was points out to me, you're not bowling for hunger, you're bowling to eliminate hunger. And we do.
against hunger.
We goal against hunger. But we had to brand it, and so we're going to stay with it. And then I had and over the course of those 11 years, we've raised over $300,000 right here in the district. So it started out pretty small, and now we've done a really good job at growing that and producing results for the 10 food pantries we have in Woodbridge and in the 21 others we have throughout the 19th district, which includes Sayreville, South Amboy, Perth Amboy, and Carteret, as well as Woodbridge. That doesn't happen without a lot of commitment from a lot of people. This is Dan Harris night too, because Dan is instrumental to so many good things in this town. He is at the heart of this Bowl for Hunger. Crystal Febbles has taken over many of those responsibilities as Dan's have grown in Trenton. But the truth of the matter is, just like the backpacks, if you need something done, you go to Dan Harris. It gets done, and it gets done right. It gets done well. So Dan, thank you for all of that. We're fortunate, John pointed out, that we've been able to raise awareness about food insecurity. About 1.2 million people in the state of New Jersey suffer from food insecurity, and it doesn't know race, it doesn't know color, it doesn't know sex, it doesn't know gender, it doesn't know political stripes, it doesn't know anything. And we all, I think, are touched by that. And that's why I've been able, with great partners in the legislature, we've increased spending from about $10 million when I started as Speaker to now over $50 million that go to food banks throughout the state. And we've done a number of things that I think will help make a difference. Most recently, we've passed 3 packages of bills. The most recent one included an advocate, a state advocate, the first in the nation to address food insecurity. So I think we're moving in the right directions in that regard, and we're doing it here. I want to thank all of the people who work at food pantries here in Woodbridge and elsewhere. You really do God's work. You care about people. You show up all the time to make sure that they have the food that they need to get through the day. Think of how debilitating it is. Think of how limiting it is in terms of someone's potential if the first job you have each and every day is to try to figure out how to feed your family that day. It doesn't allow for the greatness within. And so hopefully the folks at the food banks will keep it up, because they're changing the world. And we're doing a little bit of it today to help them out. So Dan, if you'll bring up the big check, and Peter Barcelona from We Feed here in Woodbridge is here to receive it. And so for the 10 food pantries you have, it's my privilege to give you this check for $10,000. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for the time. I appreciate it.
Can we get a photo?
Yep, slide over that way, away from the mic. So folks, we say we're the best town around. We just proved it. All these volunteers with the backpack drive and now the Bowl for Hunger, terrific events. Thank you all for watching.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for our men and women serving in our military. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That flag doesn't wave from the wind. It waves from the last breath of every American patriot who died defending it.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home Tribune Star-Ledger published a notice on December 18th, 2020. A copy of the schedule is posted on the municipal bulletin board, which is so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilwoman Drum. Councilman Patel. Councilman Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Vice President Bauer.
Here.
President Spiller. Then a motion to approve the minutes from September 14th, 2021.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances this evening, we're going to take the first one, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 7 entitled Traffic. This is to adopt the turning prohibitions on Woods Lane and New Dover Road and Woods Lane and Colonial Boulevard. With that said, can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter A only. Yes, sir. Name, please.
Crystal, Middlesex County, am I recognized?
You're recognized.
Recognized?
Letter A, sir.
I'm against it. I'm against letter A. I want that for the record. If it was needed, it would already been there. And if it is needed, why is it not doing it? Why are you doing it now? And that's it. I'm against letter A, and that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public this evening on letter A? There are no other comments. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted, and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second. Any comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're going to take B and C by consent. These two ordinances are with regards to the Rolling Valley Sewerage Authority. The first is to terminate the contract from September 1st, 1994, and the second is to adopt a new agreement with the RVSA. Can I get a motion that both of these ordinances be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Second.
Questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letters B and C. B and C.
John Watai, Woodbridge. I just came in. But again, how do you terminate the agreement between the contracts between the townships, like Clark and all those other townships with the sewer utilities? They're paying their fees, right? If you terminate the agreement, who's going to make a balance of fees that they're not going to collect after the...
In B, we terminate the agreement, and C, we start a new one.
With whom?
Same people.
Same people?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on B and C? B and C? Sir, to the microphone.
I'm against B and C, simply because I don't trust anything any of you do, any of the elected Woodbridge officials. I don't trust it. Haven't seen the new agreement that you guys made, and have you guys seen the new agreement?
We've seen it. It was available.
You've seen it?
It was available. You could have seen it. It was available to you.
Where is it available at?
Available online, John? Where are we?
It's posted on the municipal bulletin board, and it's online, and it's advertised in the newspaper in full.
Well, why wouldn't you also put it in today's paper, you know, so people coming here can read it? You know, now you're going to use the excuse that, hey, we put it on the website, and you should have read it before you got here.
Isn't that what you're doing? Aren't you using that as an excuse?
That's what you guys are using as an
No,
excuse.
it was available to you. You're the one that didn't read it.
I understand that, but there's been many times I go to council meetings and they'll provide it in the packets that are handed out.
And you would have read it?
Huh?
And you would have read it?
Yeah, members of the public coming here would have read it.
Okay.
So if they have some, if they're against something, because you guys can't vote on something unless the public sees it first. So by putting it on your website, you can have a vast majority of the people not even see this and vote on it. How many? I wonder how many
It's
people.
available. You keep saying it's available. It
Council
was
President,
available.
Council President, this is the second reading. This has been out there for 2 weeks. It's been on our website. It was there for anybody to read at the first reading, and ample time for them to see it before we voted on it, before your body voted on it for the second reading.
Thank you.
I mean, it just seems like excuses to me.
No, it's your
You know,
excuse.
just
You
one
didn't read
extra
it.
paper.
You've had 2 weeks to read it. You didn't read it. You didn't want to read it. It was your choice.
It's one extra paper, because I assumed when I read this on the agenda, I assumed there would be an extra staple on here with the paper showing the contract. I haven't read it.
You're wrong. We
and I don't
complied
feel,
with state law. It's been available. You chose not to read it. That's up to you.
well, I don't feel comfortable with you guys voting on something that I haven't read yet. So I want that on the record. You can agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. And I'll come back for later. I'll come back.
Any other comments from the public this evening? Here are no other comments. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We will take first reading ordinances listed as D, E, F, G, H, and I. Can I get a motion that these ordinances be passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on October 15, 2021, with notice of public hearing to be held on October 19, 2021, at 6 p.m.?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And Mr. President, listed under resolutions inclusive, if I can get a vote on 1 through 36, to approve 1 through 36, please.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. We'll now go to the open portion of the meeting. Please come up to the microphone, state your name, where you live, and you have 5 minutes.
Anybody from the public have any comment this evening? Sir?
There's nobody else. You're up. Well, there we go.
Again, John Bertarico. It's sad what's happening over here. We got an individual over here that's been asking the questions from the council people, more questions and more questions, more questions. And of course, he doesn't get a response. And most of us don't get a response. What bothers me, as we know from experience, if you're a politician, you're supposed to get the criticism, you're supposed to get all this thing, we know about it. And again, myself being a foreigner, came from a foreign country, just came back last week. And we tell her this thing over and over and over. And you people just don't answer back, and I understand why. Because the mayor over there is the one who calls the shots. He shouldn't answer those questions. What bothers me the most, that this individual accuses something when he doesn't stand up to the flag of the United States. He may be mad at me and you or anybody else. But what did this flag do to this individual? To her position being a teacher, and we know we're talking about it, I will mention his name, he doesn't deserve to mention his name. That's the only thing that does it, because that flag is giving the right to do it. So please, don't do it when most of us believe in the Constitution, the flag that gives us rights to do what we do. You got a right to do it. I know it's moral, I know it's nice, and that's most important. What are we teaching our kids? To dishonor this flag. No other country in the world will let you allowed to do that, except the United States. And because that's the only flag in the world is not afraid any opposition, any criticism, because it knows that we are the best and we are the most honorable people in the whole world. Now we talk about the schools, they want to change the laws and everything against the United States. And I brought some literature from Europe last Wednesday. It doesn't say no more United States of America. It says United States of Earth. So let's on. There's no place else we can go to get away with it, what we get away from it. But please don't disrespect. You can respect me, anybody else here, I guess we can take it. But don't take it a flag that doesn't fight back. It's us there to fight back. It's up to us to stand up and protect this flag. That's what's there. And we can do it, but we don't put any effort. Mayor doesn't do it, council doesn't do it. We got to put certain people in place to respect our freedom. Without the flag, we have no freedom. Where I came from, in Europe, most of European countries, if you be doing those things, it won't be the police, it won't be somebody else, but somebody in the street would confront you and put you in place, probably where you belong to. this is the only flag in the world that I could see present freedom. It's not just represents, it is the best country in the world for all of us that born here or not born here. So that's why I'm kind of saying what I'm saying today. And just one other question. Who's our insurance carrier for Woodbridge Township? What company and the carrier as an agent for the township? Anybody know?
We are self-insured, Mr. Vitaric.
Through a joint insurance fund.
Self-insured for a joint insurance.
We are self-insured for anything and everything,
Through a joint insurance, no,
Including
we have
the-
excess coverage.
including the fire, including the malpractice, so to speak, and anything else?
Including what?
Malpractice, such as sexual harassment, things like that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I
Sexual-
don't. Every licensed professional should have their own private malpractice. I have my own malpractice, he has his own malpractice.
Right, but I'm talking as a township.
But malpractice only applies to licensed professionals.
But so you don't have it. In case you get sued, township gets sued for sexual harassment,
Okay, that
we have
wouldn't
no
be-
insurance.
That wouldn't be malpractice.
That would be malpractice. What kind of insurance you gotta carry?
But we would have insurance for that.
Pardon me?
But we would have insurance for that. We had coverage for that, I should say.
Self-insured, so there's no other agency.
We're
that-
self-insured through a joint insurance fund. A joint insurance fund is a pool where other groups can join and share the risk. It's a shared risk pool.
No, but there's no,
Thank you, Mr. Vitaric. Your time is up.
thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
Frank Trumbator, Strawberry Hill Avenue, Woodbridge. Good evening, council. I'm happy to hear that Councilwoman Drum is doing better. Some things transcend petty politics, and I'm happy to hear it. I'm here for a reason. I don't come unless there's something going on. And when you're right, even though you're Democrats and I'm a Republican, I got your back. But when you're wrong, I'm in your face. That's my deal. And you've accepted it to this point, and I think you'll continue to accept it because I think it's fair. But what bothers me right now is the fact that Italian Americans are being belittled in this room during these meetings again. Columbus Day shouldn't be observed. Italians are no good. Oh, I know the names. Dago, Wap, Guinea, Greaseball, Mafiosa. I've been called by all races those names. But I'm tired of the fact that 1.5 million Italian Americans went to war. My father was one of them, who hit the beach on D-Day and had 5 battle stars. And if he was captured, he did not have the protection of the Geneva Convention. He would have been hung as a traitor because he was here as a naturalized citizen, and they would have hung him. I'm here for him. And I'm here for the other Italian Americans that are still getting spit on today. This baloney about Columbus has to stop. The Spaniards and the British hired African American tribes to capture African Americans for the slave trade. That's the truth. The first slave owner in the United States was a black man. His name was Alfred Johnson. He lived in Virginia from 1640 to 1680, I believe. He owned 4 white slaves and 1 black one. The first slave owner. Did we teach that in school? Do we have that in our history classes? Does anybody know that? Does anybody know that the first lynching that occurred in the United States were 3 Italian men in Louisiana? Do we know that? Do we know that the Indian tribes, the indigenous tribes they'd like to be called now, in this country, captured slaves from other tribes? On the Cherokee Trail of Tears, they carried everything that they and their slaves could carry. The same thing with other indigenous tribes here, and in Africa, and any place else. Slavery wasn't new. And slaves were still being sold to South America, Havana, Cuba, Central America, and the rest of the cane fields, well after we made it illegal. I'm tired of all this stuff getting dumped. And it all points Christopher Columbus was a bad guy. Let's tear down the statue. Excuse me? There's a guy's name on a bridge named Verrazano. You want to take that off too? I tell you what, let's knock down the bridge. Can't stand New Yorkers here anyway. But I'm very tired. And it goes all the way to the state government. Our governor feels that way about Italians, and I can't stand it. It's got to stop. Thank you. My time is over.
Thank you. Are there any other comments this evening?
Amber Jarrett, Woodbridge proper. I actually was here to speak about a similar issue, but I guess the opposite. I saw in the patch that Mr. Jimmy Jabrowski had proposed that the council put forth a resolution to change on the township calendar from Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day, and I'm just curious, I guess, why the council wouldn't consider or even respond to that request. It's not like this is something new. Lots of towns are doing it, entire states are doing it. It has nothing to do with being anti-Italian. It has everything to, okay. Well, anyway, so, all right, I think it's my 5 minutes.
Excuse me.
I don't know, let's be adults. Columbus, I mean, quite frankly, he's not an American hero. He is Italian, yes, but he didn't even sail for Italy. He didn't have anything to do with discovering America, and quite frankly, it's just insensitive to the people who have truly been hurt by what he started, which was, you know, a catalyst for exploitation and pretty much the decimation of entire cultures and groups of people. He's not an American hero. He has nothing to do with New Jersey. He has nothing to do with the United States. Yes, he's Italian, and I'm all for celebrating Italian heritage. If we want to have an Italian heritage festival, close down Main Street, have music, have food, all that, that's great. But it has nothing to do with Columbus. Columbus himself has not been celebrated, and I mean, it's just not historically accurate. Our school district has already not given off for it. I mean, it's just kind of time to get with the times, I guess, and I'm sorry that that offends him, but it has nothing to do with being anti-Italian. It has everything to do with accurate history and accurate portrayals of what happens. And it almost makes us look uninformed to continue to celebrate a man that, you know, is not, as I said, an American hero.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening? Yes, there are. Go right to the microphone, sir. Hear no other comment?
Good evening, James Dabrowski, Woodbridge proper. In just a few days, the second Monday of October will be celebrated by indigenous peoples throughout Turtle Island, the native name for North America based on indigenous creation story. Many observances will be in communities that have taken the steps to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, while others are still fighting for this important recognition. Woodbridge currently falls in the latter group, but we know it is not a matter of if, but when we finally get on the right side of history. As nationaltoday.com just recently explained, year by year, the movement to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day spreads to more and more states, towns, and cities across the United States. At our last meeting on September 14th, the council was presented a resolution that would declare the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples Day in Woodbridge. This administration now has the opportunity to pass this resolution and finally recognize Woodbridge's indigenous roots, and I deeply hope you will. However, I must bring up a few things that are deeply concerning. While there is nothing on our township calendar in recognition of indigenous peoples, there was for the past 16 years a controversial annual Columbus Day observance and flag raising ceremony. Although this year the word Columbus has quietly been removed, there's a flyer on our calendar for a 16th annual Italian-American flag raising on Sunday, October 10th. It's even still being co-sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, who each year are presented with the Columbus Day proclamation from Mayor John McCormick on behalf of Woodbridge Township. It's obvious that this event is merely a guise to continue celebrating Columbus, an absolute horror of a human being who began the genocide of Native Americans. The Knights of Columbus are the organization responsible for pressuring the US government to celebrate Columbus in the first place, and they continue to attack the inclusive movement to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. Additionally troubling is the fact that the Knights of Columbus are notoriously homophobic, and not to mention frighteningly against reproductive rights. Woodbridge finally raised the progressive pride flag for the first time this past June, and to turn around and honor a group like the Knights of Columbus that opposes LGBTQ+ rights is extremely problematic and insulting. I know doing the right thing isn't always easy, as there's often some risk involved. In your case, maybe some votes or political donations. But as Dr. King, who made the ultimate sacrifice standing up for what's right, reminds us, the time is always right to do what is right. This past Wednesday, our neighboring city of Perth Amboy did what's right in finally recognizing its role in the transatlantic human trade, the forced transporting of approximately 12 million kidnapped and enslaved African people across the Atlantic Ocean. A port marker was unveiled to commemorate those who perished and those who survived the Middle Passage. One of the featured guests of the ceremony was Cliff Matias, the executive director of the Red Hawk Native American Arts Council, a not-for-profit organization funded in part by Middlesex County. They're co-organizing an Indigenous Peoples Day celebration, the description of which reads, "As always, we throw this event to honor and celebrate the indigenous peoples of this land. Our purpose is to highlight and support the current movement to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, as honoring this man is rooted in inaccuracy and celebrates a tragic history of genocide and violence against the indigenous peoples of this country. Celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day would contribute greatly to the healing of America's indigenous community, and it would honor this community's resilience, strength, and ongoing contributions to American culture and history. Tonight, as we gather here on Lenape-Ho-King, the Lenape name for Lenape land, I'm speaking for many more people than I think you realize when I say that the time to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day in Woodbridge is long overdue. The question is, will this be the administration that's credited with finally recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day, or the administration that's remembered for dismissing it? I yield the remainder of my time for your response.
Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski. The council recently was presented with a request to consider designating the second Monday of October as Indigenous People Day. It is important to note that the office of the President, the United States Congress, nor the state of New Jersey has yet to establish or designate Indigenous People Day as a federal state holiday to replace what was traditionally known as Columbus Day, which officially was designated at a federal, state, and municipal holiday when President Franklin D. Roosevelt first proclaimed October 12th as a national holiday in 1937. In 1989, Italian American Heritage and Cultural Month was established by a proclamation of the President and the Congress of the United States by a public law. The state of New Jersey and the Township of Woodbridge followed the federal designation and recognizes the second Monday in October as Italian American Heritage Day, which honors achievements and contributions of Italian immigrants and their descendants living in the United States, the state of New Jersey, and more specifically, more than 14,000 Woodbridge Township residents of Italian American descent. It is also important to note that Woodbridge Township follows federal and state holiday designations which honor and celebrate the contributions of America's past presidents, the African American community through Dr. Martin Luther King, and the legislation recently signed by Governor Murphy, which designates the third Friday in June as Juneteenth Day, a state and public holiday. The contributions of the Irish American community, and most importantly, the veterans of our community who have served and died in all wars protecting the freedoms of this nation. This council and the administration will continue to recognize official holidays as designated by the United States Congress and the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
So nothing for Indigenous peoples?
Your time is up, Mr. Dombrowski.
Wow. What a shame.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Siding with Frank Trombatori.
Tom Maris, Sports New Jersey. Prior meetings, I've asked some questions and yet to have had answers to those, so I'd like to restate them and just get brief answers before I go on with anything else. First question is, when will the town council be voting on this year's budget? Do you have a date set for that?
Mr. Maris, the budget was approved on August 24th. Adopted on August 24th.
I was, I'm sorry.
It was
I
adopted
know
on-
there was, yes, my apologies then, it was my oversight, not knowing that.
Yes.
Okay. I was aware of when you had the hearing at the community center, I was not aware, and I obviously was not present at that meeting. So it's my faux pas, my apologies. Thank you for the clarification. Regards to the energy aggregate program, when will that be initiated and how will the township residents be notified of it?
Mayor?
We don't know yet. We're still going to work, we still are working on a procurement process. We can't predict when exactly that's going to go out, or town residents will be notified the same way they were the last time, with a letter to each home in Woodbridge Township.
Okay. And casting those aspersions, we don't, and I don't mean to argue or throw anything back, but we know we had problems back in 2016 rolling that out. Hopefully, we learn from those lessons and it'll go a much smoother notification to all the residents. And if they wish to participate, well, they're going to have to, I'm assuming, participate, or once again, they'll have to opt out. Is that not the case?
Yes.
Right now, that's the state law.
Okay. Just for clarification, thank you. I think this is supposed to be a combined health department meeting as well tonight?
Correct.
Is that true? Are we going to be able to speak to anything that they're presenting separate from this meeting? Will there be a Q&A back?
No, sir.
No, okay. Has anything been done to help the Ideal Trailer Park residents?
Mr. Maris, the administration and the mayor has met with residents from Ideal Trailer Park, and they're making progress.
Okay. When it comes up later on with the health department, I hope they'll address, I'm asking the question now, and I would appreciate it if they could answer some questions about what they saw went wrong with St. Joseph's, because we had a lot of tragic deaths there, and what part did they play? This is from COVID. What part did they play in doing inspections there, and what part does the health department play in inspecting the food quality at our school systems? As you may know, Chartwell has now been told they're going to be terminated, and the school board is looking for somebody to replace them. But the fact that we had that kind of bad food in the schools, is the health department responsible for looking in at the schools and seeing what's going on from a cleanliness and food quality? And I'd like an answer to that when it comes time to talk about it at the meeting. I also asked, too, has the administration or any part of the administration been contacted by any federal, state, or other entity in regards to handling, housing illegal aliens or refugees from any other country?
No.
Okay, thank you. And finally, I'd just like to say I applaud you for the answer that you gave this evening about the indigenous people, and certainly staying steadfast at honoring our Italian-American heritage. And I'd like to add a little note to that, too. Perhaps some of the people here that were bad-mouthing the Knights of Columbus should get to know more about what that organization does, all the good that they do promote, and all that they have brought to this community. The community is a much better place for it. And anybody that needs to go to sleep, all you have to do is listen to somebody that's woke for a while, and it'll put you right to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments this evening?
Good evening, everyone. John from Port Reading, 3rd Ward. I did a little research, and over 88,000 people the year after a presidential election don't vote. And there's many people in World War I, World War II, Revolutionary and Civil War that died for freedom and right to vote. Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King also died for people that have freedom and a right to vote. I had a great conversation with several seniors this weekend, the people of the trailer homes, and just people in general throughout town. And they're so disappointed at the lack of leadership in here. They feel everybody's just one-sided and no one speaks up for the people, and then everyone just agrees with themselves on the council. They actually, what the people call puppets on the council. I'm just using their words. And there's no one that ever stands up and tries to change the flow of things. So, what I'm saying to all those people who told me time and time again with all the problems in this town and the issues they have with Corey Spiller, the issues they have with other councilmen, the issues they might have with the mayor, if you don't go out and vote, and I'm telling you people, if you don't go out and vote and make a difference, you can't fix anything. And you only can blame yourself because you didn't stand up, which you had the right to vote and do. So please, get out there on November 2nd, vote for John. I will help make the changes that you guys need. Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Council President?
Councilman Ficarro.
If I may, I would just like to make a point that during the flood, and most recently during a horrific fire this weekend, while some people were out walking around talking to people they wanted to hear news from, Councilman Spiller was rescuing people and saving people and didn't necessarily have time to go out and politic because he was too busy being a firefighter. Thank you, Council President.
Are there any other comments from the public?
Yes, sir.
May I rebut that?
No.
You're up, sir. You're
Can you
good.
rebut that? Can you rebut that? No, my time?
Your time.
My time? Am I recognized?
You are recognized.
Thank you.
What is his name?
Huh?
What is your name? Where do you live? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Middlesex County Young Republican Chairman within Middlesex County. Am I recognized?
You've been recognized.
Thank you. So he's been eating up my time. I wanted to speak first about the malicious prosecution Woodbridge Township council members are doing, Woodbridge cops are doing to members of the community. I'm going to put it on hold for a moment because crap, something's going on outside. I should be recording it. I'd rather speak right now first for the Columbus, what's going on with Christopher Columbus. I've heard once again some inflammatory racist remarks made by Jimmy Dabrowski, and I have a rebuttal for him. But also for everybody. The first indentured servants here in the United States of America were in St. Augustine, were Greeks, Italians, and Spaniards. Spaniards from the island of Minorca, Italians and Greeks from Smyrna and in Mani Peninsula. As for Christopher Columbus never said he was from Genoa, Italy. He said he was from the Genoa Republic. Google the Genoa Republic. Genoa, Italy is not within there. It's a few Greek islands, one of those being Chios. Christopher Columbus is a Greek from the Greek island of Chios. In his writings, he even wrote, he's from the land of the red mastic gum. That land can only be found Greek island of Chios. Him and his family members own land, nowhere in Italy, but on the island of Chios. So I want that on the record, that Christopher Columbus was a Byzantine prince, and the kings and queens of Spain and England wouldn't have met with him if he was a commoner. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. He wasn't dyslexic. People think he's dyslexic because he didn't know how to read Latin, but he did write in Greek. If you see in his things, he wrote in Greek. But to go past that, today, the mouth of the mayor, spokesperson of the mayor, Mr. Haggerty, he tried to bully me not to come into a public meeting, given the council meeting didn't start yet, but the commencement with the East Board of Ed member, who was in Edison, New Jersey on a float created by the Indian Business Association, who sent out racist flyers threatening to deport Indians and Chinese. I saw this BOE member that you guys were just commemorating next to Birel Patel, who also stole a sash and completely stealing, misrepresenting himself, identity theft, fraud artist. That's all you guys are. How much time do I have left?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? I want to know why Elizabeth DeJesus wrote 2 charges on me breaking decorum at a council meeting. As we saw today, someone could have been charged with that. Jimmy D could have been charged with that multiple times. Why am I the first member ever to be charged with breaking decorum at a council meeting? And she charged me twice, and she never even wrote down specifically what I broke, 'cause there's like 20 of them, and most of them are against the USA Constitution. For example, yes, I can come in here and curse. Rosenfeld versus New Jersey. New Jersey court upheld the rights for me to come in here and curse. Yet your decorum, your rules are going to say I can't do that. I can be thrown out. Absolutely disgusting. Was I thrown out because I told Councilman Spiller he should be excommunicated? I don't know. But even if I did, I have the right to do that. Whether I agree with it or not, you know, I have the right to come in here and do that. So I'm being maliciously prosecuted. Town council members, absolutely disgusting. Have you ever charged anyone with that before? Are you doing it because of my political affiliation? Absolutely, you are absolutely disgusting, Lisbeth de Jesus. And it's not even that. I'm also being maliciously prosecuted by a police officer here. The same day when I went downstairs, he actually wrote fake charges on me. Are we going to have outrage over that by Jimmy Dabrowski? Absolutely not. Why? Is it because of the pigment of my skin? I have a certain skin color, and we can't have outrage that my rights were being violated? No, Jimmy, it's not funny. I'm being honest now, because you got to be fair and balanced with everything. You know, you can't just only care for one group and disregard the entire nation. That's absolutely disgusting, Jimmy. How much time do I have left?
You have 9 seconds.
9 seconds? Okay. God bless Christopher Columbus. God bless Italian Americans. And God bless the
Thank
Greeks
you.
too. Hell yeah. And God bless America.
Are there any other comments from the public?
Hell yeah.
Sir, could you please go around? Thank you.
My name is Mike Zomp. I'm from Colonia. I'm only going to say 2 brief things. I'm an Italian American. I recognize Columbus's mistakes. I recognize that he is not a credit to the Italian Americans, and that the name probably should be changed. I hope that's on the record. Also, the other comment I will make is that listening to these council meetings and some of the discourse that people choose to come up here and publicly state about a flag or whatever else, it's fine. And you might not agree with what a person wants to do or not do to the flag, but to get up here and just berate that person is ridiculous, and you sound ridiculous. So I would just state those 2 things. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uncle Tom doesn't speak for the
Excuse me, sir.
community.
You don't
never
speak.
speak for us. You're disgusting.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening? Hearing no other comments from the public, can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed?
Motion.
Comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll go into the agenda, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. I'll start off my agenda. Number 3, Port Reading Fire and First Aid. Port Reading Day is going to be held this Saturday at the Port Reading Firehouse from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. All Port Reading residents are more than welcome to come out. It's also Fire Prevention Day, so the fire department, the career department is going to put on some exhibits. There's food, there's entertainment. And again, I urge our Port Reading residents to come out. Also, Port Reading Fire, First Aid, and Career are hosting a trunk or treat on May 25th, 2021, 6 to 7:30 across from the Port Reading Firehouse on Port Reading Avenue and Lee Street. They ask that you adhere to COVID-19 guidelines. Pre-registrations for the trunk or treaters are required. No walk-ups will be allowed. Email registrations to treasurer@prfas.com. Again, treasurer@prfas.com. In lieu of any fee, we ask that you bring an unwrapped toy to be donated to a Christmas family in need. Prizes for the best trunks will be awarded. Again, so that's October 25th, 2021. Everybody is welcomed. National Public Lands Day. At Ernie Oros Park, just short of 50 volunteers from the International Martial Arts. They always come out strong. They put down new mulch, painted the fences, cleared the pathways, did some kayaking, and it was a wonderful day at Oros Park. I was in the back for the first time and went back there with the mayor. I never believed we would have such a beautiful lake back there. It's incredible. So if you get an opportunity to get out there, it's a beautiful lake, and there's a lot of people out there kayaking, so it's a nice time. At the Island Library, the Garden for the Blind, 15 students from Island Middle School helped the women from the Garden Club plant new flowers and mulch beds. The township was extremely, down at the Seawarren, South Robert and Seawarren Avenue, over 100 Girl Scouts planted over 250 trees in the flood area. So we thank all the Girl Scouts and their parents for coming out. That was also a nice exhibit. I'm happy to announce that Mayor Mac's Cafe is reopening on October 18th for breakfast and lunch. That is located at the Cypress Center. I urge all residents to go down there and visit it. It's a great time, a great meal, and the kids do a great job. Our light parade is November 27th. It'll follow the stroll on Main Street. Always a wonderful night, and we'll get into that more as we get closer. On 10/17, October 17th, at the Saints Field, we are going to dedicate the Saints Field to former Mayor Joseph DiMarino. It'll be named the DiMarino Sports Complex in honor of all the contributions that Mayor DiMarino made to this community and to the town of Port Reading. I remind all our residents that October is Breast Cancer Awareness. Also at Port Reading Day, the Port Reading First Aid Squad will be selling breast awareness shirts, and all the proceeds will be going to a foundation. Last but not least, Director Hubner, I want to thank the police department for the trip to the monuments and remembering the fallen officers of not only Woodbridge, but Port Authority and Perth Amboy. It was a wonderful day. We have officers that weren't even born yet that are doing these memorials, so I'm sure I counted probably about 60, 70 officers out there, many of them on their own time. I know you came home from vacation early to be here, so I just want to commend the police department. They did a great job. I was very impressed. And I just want to thank all our first responders. And we lost a very dedicated first responder in Port Reading over the last 2 weeks, Richie Cruz. So keep his family in your hearts. And God bless America. Thank you. Vice President Bauer.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 6, the Forge Business Community. You'll hold on your annual Trunk or Treat Cruise Night on Monday, November 1st, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Sipperstein's Paints parking lot at 372 New Brunswick Avenue in Forge. All are welcome. Vendor tables are available if interested, and for more information, email decorator121@aol.com. Item number 12, the Hickory Senior Center on Coriel Street in Forge. We're getting an outside shaded picnic area and a butterfly garden provided by a local Boy Scouts Eagle Scout project. I'd like to thank the administration for always working with the youth of our community to interact them with the many organizations within our township. And I have one announcement. The Woodbridge High School Marching Band's 8th Annual Barron Classic will be held on Saturday, October 9th, starting at 5 p.m. at Woodbridge High School. Woodbridge High School performs at 8:30 p.m. with awards at 9 p.m. It's $12 for adults, $8 for seniors and adults, $8 for seniors and children, and four and younger are free. Like I said, just thank all our first responders, and God bless America. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Vice President Bauer. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Thank you, Council President. My first agenda item is Police Community Affairs. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that during Hispanic Heritage Festival, we honored Detective Bonilla and Officer Bruno as Hispanic officers representing our community. I'm very proud not only of our Woodbridge Police Department, but of our Latino officers that serve the entire community. I'm also very proud to announce that Woodbridge Police Department has adopted the Safe Place program. And if you give me a little bit of time, I can explain what this program is. Woodbridge Police Safe Place is geared to enhance the relationship between the Woodbridge Police Department, the LGBTQ+ community, victims of violence incidents, local businesses, schools, and alleys. Woodbridge Police Department Safe Place will provide decals to local businesses, schools, organizations, and alleys, encouraging those locations and entities to clearly post a signage at the entrance and publicly visible areas in their premise as a symbol of safe haven for victims of LGBTQ+ crime or anyone that is being bullied. The Woodbridge Police Safe Place decals are designed to be highly visible, uniform, and recognizable to the entire community, provide designated safe locations for community members to seek services, and show support for the LGBTQ+ community. Displaying the decal means that you will, the decal will be outside the front entrance of your establishment, building, or room, and it allows victims to enter and remain at your premise until Woodbridge police officers arrive. And whoever displays the decal can call or assist victims if there's a crime that's been committed. And I'll show you, I don't know if everyone can see it, I don't know if the camera can catch, but this is what the decal will look like. And anyone, if you are in need of assistance and you see that decal, you can enter the location and they will assist you. I'm very proud of that program. Now moving on to item number 9, Barron Fest. I'm happy to announce the Barron Fest will be this Saturday at the Alvin P. Williams Memorial Park in Sea Warren. It will be from 12 p.m. to 4:30 this Saturday, October 9th. It's Woodbridge's 14th annual Fine Arts and Craft Festival, and this is an opportunity for everyone to start their Christmas shopping or just any kind of gift that you may want to gift. There are a lot of local artists involved in this program. Again, Barron Fest will be this Saturday, October 9th, from 12 to 4:30 at Alvin P. Williams Park. And now moving on to our public libraries. The Forts Branch Library will celebrate 50 years of service to the community on Wednesday, October 13th, between 4:30 and 7:30. Remarks and refreshment will be offered on the patio of the Forts Branch Library at 6 p.m. They've been around as long as Disney World has been around, 50 years. The Woodbridge Public Library Board and staff would like to express its gratitude to the Evergreen Community Center, where the Henry Inman Branch staff will offer some library services, new materials, and takeaways between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Fridays. The Colonia Branch has been closed since September 1st because of damage caused during Tropical Storm Ida. Restoration efforts are projected to require that the Colonia Branch remain closed until 2022. Colonia residents are invited to visit the main, Island, or Fort Branch libraries during the branch closure. Woodbridge library cards are also valid in more than 50 libraries in Middlesex and Union counties. Call the library for more information at 732-634-4450, extension 5, or visit woodbridgelibrary.org. Thank you. That is all that I have.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you, Council President Small. Before I begin, Councilman Ficarra, I appreciate the kind words. The residents know how accessible we are. They know we're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They know we work hard for them, we work for them. And, come election time, misinformation always happens at council meetings, and we'll see what happens after November the 2nd. So with that said...
Excuse me, sir, you have no... Officer, remove him from the meeting.
Put that little fire out. Sir. Wait 2 weeks. I hope you're ready.
Okay, yeah. I lose sleep at night. Item number 8, the Avenel Fire Department was dispatched to a structure fire at 38 Colonial Gardens next to School 23 for a structure fire. As somebody just said, a little fire? No, it was not a little fire. 11 families for a total of 32 residents lost everything as the entire building was destroyed by fire, smoke, and heat. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers all the residents that were affected. Speaking with Dr. Zaga and Principal Short this week, they have a total of 7 children affected as they attend School 23 in Avenel Middle School. Donations can be made via cash, check, or Venmo to the Woodbridge Community Charity Fund, and cash and gift cards to major stores can be dropped off at the community center or town hall. I'd like to thank and commend the Avenel Fire Department and all of the township mutual aid and county departments that responded. Also Patrick Kenny and OEM, CERT, and once again, our community comes together after a tragic situation. Councilman Small, Bauer, Mr. Mitch, Director Brew, myself, we've been in the fire service for a little bit. When you roll up to a building like that you can't tell where the front door is because it's completely consumed by fire, and it's at 4:15 on a Sunday morning where people aren't getting up for work, we're talking about a different scenario if that resident that Joe By didn't stop and start banging on the door and the windows to get everybody out. That went up within 30 seconds. So thankful to her, and again, thank you to the job that all the men and women did out there. So thank you. Still at the Avenel Fire Department, you're invited to our annual open house for Fire Prevention Week this Saturday, October 9th at the Avenel Firehouse from 10 to 1. We'll have the fire equipment, the engines, the truck will be on display. We'll have a smoke trailer, ambulance and first aid equipment will be on display. Refreshments will be served. Avenel Firehouse, 346 Avenel Street, corner of Route 1. Silly fact, if you're ever on Jeopardy and they ask you what's the only firehouse on Route 1 from Maine to Florida, it's the Avenel Firehouse. So you should be able to find it. We'll have Sparky there, so a great day for the kids. Item number 14, Maple Tree Senior Center. I'd like to thank everyone who came out on September 22nd for the center's ribbon cutting and grand opening. Once again, I'd like to thank the mayor, the administration, senior services, and my fellow councilmates for letting this dream become a reality. The great thing about this is it's 2 blocks from Maple Tree Manor. We have about 40 people from Maple Tree Manor there that day. We had over 150 residents, seniors, so fantastic. And now the Avenel Golden Senior Circle Club, they're going to start having a few meetings there as well, so thank you. The rest of my agenda is in order, Council President. Thank you to all emergency responders, fire, EMS, our Woodbridge Police Department, CERT, and all of our public works and township employees. God bless America. Thank you, Council President Small.
Thank you, Councilman Spiller. And we all know what this town means to you, and it says enough. And I'm just going to say, there's people out in this audience that are on the other side of the political fence, and we all know it, but you're respectful, and I think we're respectful back. And thank you for not using this meeting as your political platform. That's all I have to say. Councilwoman Meehan.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to thank the mayor and administration for organizing a meeting in September to help the residents in Colonia that were impacted by Tropical Storm Ida navigate through their concerns and to give them knowledge about FEMA and the Blue Acres buyout program. Also, thank you to the panel of our Woodbridge Township experts that were there to answer questions that residents had. Thank you, Director Brew. You were there to help our residents and really help them to be able to talk to you. Last week, a letter was sent out to the community impacted by the flood, advising all the residents that we will notify them as soon as we get funding from FEMA and Blue Acres, and at that time, we will hold another meeting to help guide them through their next steps. Also, any resident that suffered damages from the storm should apply to FEMA for aid if they haven't done so already. They can file online at www.disasterassistance.gov. There's also additional information on the Woodbridge Township website. We know this is a very difficult time for all those that have been affected by Tropical Storm Ida, but please know that our mayor and our administration are working as fast as they can to help your family. And any Colonia resident that needs to talk or has questions, they can personally reach out to me. My number is 732-382-0273. And I have 2 upcoming events I'd like to share. The first one is our 5th annual Inman Avenue Breast Cancer Walk this year, which will be on Saturday, October 16th. The walk leaves from Colonia Middle School at 11 a.m. and will proceed to Colonia VFW, where we'll have a barbecue and gift basket auction. This year, the walk will honor Ann Joe, a Colonia mom who's bravely battling cancer. The Joe family has requested that all donations from the event be donated to a family also battling cancer. So all donations will be donated to another longtime Colonia resident, Angela DeSillis, the mother of 4 school-aged children who was recently diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer. So grab your family and your friends and walk in honor and support of these 2 Colonia moms who are battling cancer, and also walk in memory of those we have lost, those who have won, and those who continue to fight. There's no pre-registration, so you could just show up that day. It's $10 for the walk and $10 for the barbecue. So we hope you come out and support these moms. And lastly, I'm happy to announce that this year Veterans Parade is back and will be held on Sunday, November 14th, starting at 1:30 p.m. from Ross Street School 11. Please come down and support our veterans. We haven't been able to do that in a couple years now, and they deserve our respect and our honor, and I'm looking forward to walking with them. So please come out again. It is on November 14th, and that's all I have to say. Huh?
You're going to see Park cleanup, as you mentioned.
Oh, and thank you for everybody that came out to clean the park. And there's a lot going on in Chloe. Inman Avenue, we had a lot of people come out, and they beautified our town. They spent the morning with us. They we cleaned up a memorial garden that we did for victims from COVID from Woodbridge Township. And it was just great to see the community come out to help each other and make it beautiful and just do something positive. So that's all I have.
Just looking out for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilwoman De Jesus is going to read Councilwoman Trump's.
Nancy's agenda. Number 1, the recent St. James Annual Street Fair was a success. A special thank you to the 18 Woodbridge High School students that offered to volunteer. The fair organizer, Mike, was very appreciative. He said all of the students were very kind and extremely helpful with setting up and breaking down the vendor tables. The annual Frank Gannon Fishing Derby at the Woodbridge Pond this past weekend was a fun, good weather, well-attended event again this year. Thank you to the Recreation Department for organizing this event and to all of the families that participated. Item number 13, the Elks Lodge 2116 is holding its annual soccer shootout at Woodbridge High School this Friday night. Registration is from 6 to 7 and the soccer shoot begins at 7. All kickers under 16 years of age are encouraged to come out for a fun and friendly competition. Winners will proceed to the next level of competition. Thank you to Woodbridge High School for hosting this event again this year. The Haunted Woodbridge Ghost Walk 2021 will be this Saturday beginning at 6:30 p.m. from Pearl Street Park near the train station lot. Rain date is the next day, October 10th. This year, there will be many new ghostly performances. You don't want to miss this. I'm happy to see that she did 2 pages. A shout out to our local Girl Scout troops for participating in our recent National Public Lands Day. The township has been extremely successful in removing people and structures from flood risk through the NJDEP Blue Acres program and restoring said areas to best endure natural floodplain functions. On National Public Lands Day, habitat restoration plans designed by Rutgers University were implemented to continue these efforts on C. Warren Avenue, Arbor Street, and South Robert Street. Through help from over 100 local Girl Scouts, over 250 native trees were planted in order to increase ecological uplift and flood storage capacity. Thank you also to Tom Flint from our engineers department and our DPW staff for being an integral part of this planning and planting project. The Rebuilding Warriors fundraiser event this past weekend raised $16,000 for our veterans in need of service dogs due to PTSD. A job very well done by the organizers Nancy and Jeff Mullins. Also to our local C. Warren business Movies and their staff for once again hosting this fundraiser. All of the work in planning, gathering of the bands who volunteer their time, along with soundmen George and Mike, and gift basket raffles, all contributed to the success of this event. Thank you, and I'm just really happy to see that Nancy is participating and sending her announcements, and really happy that she's on the mend, and she has all of our support, and she's not here physically, know that she's watching our meetings, and she's participating in every which way that she can, so stay strong, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Anderson?
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to congratulate our Councilwoman, Ms. Meehan, and our officer, Mark Zeno, who are going to be recognized by the Patriot Path Council tomorrow for their unwavering support of Woodbridge Township residents. Much deserved. And I'm looking forward to being here. The WTYRC, newly formed Woodbridge Township Recreation Soccer League kicked off on September 18th. Has gotten off to a great start with children as young as 3 and 4 years of age participating. Special thank you to Bobby Tominski, Mike Gibb, and Ryan Miller for bringing this league together. Also, the Woodbridge Township Recreation Soccer kicked off its free training last night under the lights on the turf of Woodbridge High School's soccer field with over 70 kids in attendance. This training program will run Monday through Friday for the next 5 weeks with a different age group training every evening. All 930 kids in the program can take advantage of this great opportunity by signing up for any of the upcoming training sessions on the Department of Recreation's website. The professional training is,
Bless you.
Bless you about that. The professional training is being conducted by Valencia Soccer Academy. For the job bank, Councilwoman Drum was kind enough to text me over Mosaic Salon at 410 Amboy Avenue in Woodbridge proper is looking to hire. The positions available right now are receptionist, nail technician, hairdresser, and cleaning person. Full and part-time positions are available. Please call Katrina, who is the owner, at 732-770-3280 if you have interest in those positions. Other positions on the job bank are UPS is hiring package handlers from $18.50 an hour up to $20 an hour. I've been mentioning that the Woodbridge crossing guards are in need. Good pay, great part-time job, free training, must be over 18 or over. To apply, please contact HR at 732-634-4500 extension 6408 or Eunice Jackson at 732-634-4500 extension 2125. There's also a new Pizza Hut in town, and their store is at 1236 St. George Avenue in Avenel. No experience, we'll teach you. Flexible schedule, that's here too. Great opportunity. You can go onto their website for Pizza Hut, and you can find that on our township website for Employment Opportunity Center. Amazon is offering a $1,000 sign-on bonus, and BASF and 911 dispatchers go to the township website. Substitute teachers are in high demand, and Mill Creek is looking for an administrative assistant, and FedEx Ground is hiring at $18.60 to start. You could also look for positions from Dave & Buster's, Middlesex Water, Bayshore Recycling, BCB Community Bank, and Northfield Bank and Gem Limousine. Woodbridge Hall of Fame. Legendary coach from JFK, Herb Holloway, passed away this past weekend. He happened to be my winter track coach. He was also the 2019 guest speaker for our Hall of Fame. He pushed me to run the 400 meters, which I was a little reluctant to do, but he saw something in me and my teammates, and we were, at the end of the season, we were named to first team All Middlesex County. He was a man of tremendous respect that took great pride in the student athlete, especially the JFK student athlete that came under his guidance. He will be sorely missed. And I I also attended the, I was at Woodbridge, the Woodbridge Garden for, or the Island Library Garden for Blind with the students from Island Middle. Spent about an hour with them while they were weeding and planting, and they had members of the Woodbridge Garden Club that were there helping them out. So it's a beautiful garden. That was my first garden as a kid because that's where I went to school at Island School 18, and it has grown tremendously. But I remember when that was a garden for the blind, and it was one of the first certified gardens for blinds in New Jersey. So just kudos to all of them. Okay. And last Sunday, we had the tremendous honor of attending renaming of our firehouse on Kelly Street in Menlo Park Terrace, and that was for the honor of our former mayor, Phil Syria. I went to school with his daughter, Margaret. We graduated high school together. It was a fun time to be a kid from Kennedy High School, to be a classmate of the daughter of the mayor. He made a lot of visits to our school, but he was a true representative of Island. He also got my father involved in the town, and it was a great honor. I want to thank everyone, especially Ed Mullen and his son, for calling for that ceremony, and all the men over at that firehouse. and they did a fantastic job. And speaking of the fire, I know Councilman Spiller, thank you very much for your effort and trying to save what right now it just really looks like a disaster area, and it could have been worse. And as you said, if it were not for that passerby, but especially for the men and first responders and women first responders that were there and called there to help those families. We will be doing a fundraiser for my organization, and we're looking to help out in any way we can. But thank you to all the first responders, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Ficarra?
Thank you, Council President. I'm last to go tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of the lighter stuff at the Woodbridge Community Center. The mini golf course in the back has been converted into a haunted mini golf course. It's pretty cool. It's open Monday through Friday, 1 to 10, Saturday 12 to 10, and Sunday 12 to 9. Also at the community center, there's a number of events going on involving the roller rink, the ice skating rink, and the swimming pool. You could check out all those activities at njwcc.com. They're so plentiful, I can spend too much time. Across the street at the club, their classes for swimming and sporting events are filling up fast. So if you're interested, you have to stop by. They have their launch party all day on October 16th. And the proceeds from that, there'll be various ways to contribute, will support the We Feed program to feed the folks that need it the most. There's no membership required. You can sample classes over there and get a feel for it. The club at Woodbridge website is theclub.org, and it is chock full with all the information. They also have a holiday Halloween event on October 22nd from 7 to 9. It's free to members, and there's a $15 non-member free, and some of those proceeds will go to a specific charity too. I'd just like to mention, going off my agenda a little bit, is October is a lot of things, but it's also Pedestrian Safety Month. Just a couple of quick tips to drivers: please drive slow in school zones, and also avoid in-car distractions like texting and talking on a phone that's not hands-free. If you're a pedestrian, you're part of the game too, so make sure that you pay attention, especially around traffic signals, and don't walk or ride your bike with headsets on. That's a dangerous thing to do. I'd like to congratulate and thanks our police department for their guidance and leadership of the successful Tour to Woodbridge, which was on September 26th. We had nearly 200 riders that rode through our streets, 30 miles or 15 miles in a safe fashion, guided by our police department. The way that they guide that, the way that they use their vehicles to protect it it's a science. It's amazing. Thank you to Pat Kenny, Jeff Marmestein, who is the tour director. Wegmans provided a nice meal. The Girl Scouts were there to guide along the way. We had many chaperones, Mr. Nolan's law firm, Dr. Swan is a new orthopedic, number of our banks, just a wonderful day. I too would like to congratulate Councilwoman Meehan. I'll be at the event tomorrow where you're honored along with Detective Mark Zeno, and we're pretty proud of you guys, so I'm looking forward to that. I'd also like to thank Director Brew. I'm glad that you're here because we have our state-of-the-art fitness equipment up in a number of parks. Most recently, Ferry Street's about to be completed, and it seems like every time you do it, you add another ambiance to it. This one's got a top on it. It's absolutely incredible. If you have not seen this, this is modern state-of-the-art fitness equipment that you might see at an indoor facility available outside, free to everyone. You really should check it out, and it's right over there by our free bike program where you can get those bikes and ride them around town. I'd also like to point out when it comes to connecting with the community, this past Sunday, which was the day that the fire that Councilman Spiller talked about, I was with the mayor, with other people, doing some events that were going on, and the mayor had given each of the 11 families, because one of the units was not occupied, right? Correct. His direct phone number, and he spent a good part of the day communicating with these people one-on-one with the unfortunate folks that lost everything. So if that's not public service, I don't know what is. That's as good as it gets. So I don't think I have the mayor's cell phone number. I don't know, but he gave it out to everybody. Director Green, before I go into anything on COVID, I assume maybe you're going to discuss that in your portion?
I was going to leave most of it for you, but I do have a short version. I gave you the longer version.
Well, would you like to take that? I think you're better at it than I am. All right, very good. So I will leave my council COVID report to the man that provides that wonderful information and does a good job, and I really think deserves a lot of credit for getting us through this. Director, I mean that sincerely. Thank you, Council President. I think I've done enough damage tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller?
Thank you, Council President Small. Just one item I forgot regarding the fire. Director Hubner, if you can please thank, from all of us, the officers that were on scene. They were there within seconds. And, you know, people say, well, police officers, firefighters, they do what they're supposed to do. But pretty much every officer, while we're running in with gear and air packs, they were running in with just their work clothes. And they were very, very helpful with, I think some of them are firefighters and they're not telling anybody because they got those ground ladders off so quick, got them up to the second and third floor balconies in the event rescues need to be made to assist us. So please, from my complete fire department and everyone involved, please thank them for us. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Mr. Mitch?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just drop down to number 5, elections. Just a reminder again to the general public that New Jersey has adopted early voting. This will be the first year we're presented with that. We will be a host site in Woodbridge Township at the Acacia Center, which is formerly known as the Hungarian Manor on Fort Reading Avenue. It will be a 9-day period starting October 23rd and ending October 31st, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8, Sunday 10 to 6. Electronic poll books will also be introduced this year. I always recommend people don't bring your sample ballot to your polling location if you're not going to do the early voting. And then you'll still have an opportunity to vote on General Election Day, November 2nd. Reminder, we'll go right into the Board of Health meeting after this. And one last comment, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the passing of our Deputy Clerk, Jackie Broderick. Since we last met, Jackie worked for me 21 of her last 37 years here, so she does have a long tenure with us. I thank you for the condolences of the past couple of weeks. She'll sorely be missed, her and her wit. And I also thank you for the appointment of Cheryl Sharkey tonight as the new Deputy Clerk to replace her. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Director Hubner?
You can see, thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Director Brew?
Thank you, Council President. I have one item for resolution, and that's the purchase of a high-pressure sewer back truck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business Administrator Similuka?
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple of quick comments before my agenda. I'd like to, on behalf of the mayor and the administration, I'd like to thank Councilman Spiller, as well as our very own Mr. Mitch, the Avenel Fire Department, our police department, as well as all the other first responders, EMS, along with the folks that helped out and saved the lives of those 11 families. Their swift actions should be commended and praised. For those 11 families that lost their home, our prayers and thoughts go out to them. We're doing some outreach to them and to the neighbors for some support. As that comes along, we'll pass it along to those residents to help them out. So I'd like to thank you for all those actions. And with that, my agenda. I have a 100% disabled vet. I have a tax and sewer overpayment. I have, under recreation, I have a social group contracts. Under development and planning, I have a refund from the current account, and under add-ons for me, I have the Alamo Engineering Group for Caseby Interceptor Segment 5, Phase 2 proposal for the approval of the design portion. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch?
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, we're going to go into the Board of Health meeting. If I have a motion to do so.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Green?
Thank you, Council. So I'd like to update the Council on the Health Department's activities since our last Board of Health meeting. The Health Department held a rabies clinic on September 21st, and we had 131 animals that were vaccinated within the 3-hour clinic. The Health Department also held a school-age immunization clinic through our nursing division for the standard required immunizations for school children. Both were well attended to capacity, and another will be scheduled later on this month to meet the needs of the community. The Health Department held a skin cancer screening on September 24th in partnership with St. Peter's Hospital. 12 persons attended, which was capacity. The health department also hosted a walk with the doc on September 17th in Seawarren Park, and there were 11 participants, which we're excited to see. We also coordinated a stroke signs and symptoms program with Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital at Hickory Senior Center on September 15th, which was well attended. This is all in addition to our ongoing COVID response. The mayor is continually providing his weekly updates on the current COVID cases in the community. I just want to add that the nursing division and environmental division continue to interface and inform the local schools, preschools, and businesses on all the changes in the executive orders and guidelines. Currently, our COVID cases stand at 14,095 cases, 13,178 are community cases. We're currently running at an average of 10 cases per day over a 3-day moving average, which is down from approximately 20 a week or so ago. So we're actually moving in the right direction, which we're very happy to see. We continue to provide COVID-19 clinics. To date, we have provided 85 clinics administering 10,589 vaccinations. And that includes clinics held on Saturdays and Sundays in September, which we increased our vaccination clinics to help assist the schools and the school children get vaccinated for return to school. We are also offering all 3 approved COVID vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J. The vaccine is available for all persons 12 and up and subject to the CDC guidelines of eligibility. We're also happy to report that the percent of vaccinated people in Woodbridge increases weekly. Currently, for all persons aged 12 and up age group, at least 82% have at least 1 dose of vaccine and 75% are fully vaccinated. So we're very excited to see that continues to move up. And also we're excited to see that we're constantly having first doses at all our clinics that are held weekly. So the more people get vaccinated, the better. So in closing, I want to encourage everyone who's still not vaccinated to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The vaccines are safe, effective, and they're free. You can make an appointment at the Woodbridge Health Center at 732-855-0600, extension 5004. Clinics are every Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. at the Woodbridge Public Health Center. Walk-ins are accepted. Thank you, council. I appreciate your support.
Any questions, Mr. Green?
Director Green, on behalf of the council, we can't thank you and your staff enough. It's been a long journey through COVID, and I know you have worked extremely hard, so thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
I just have one question. For children 12 and up, which is the vaccine offered for them?
It's currently the Pfizer. So, yeah, we're offering all 3 vaccines. It's still Pfizer for the 12 and up age group. We're waiting for Moderna to get approved for that group. We don't know when that'll be approved, but we're still waiting for that. Yes, Council.
Thank you.
President, Director, I'm giving you a soft pitch here. I know the governor just passed legislation about childcare. It was in the report that you gave me. Could you share that?
So child care centers are required to do 2 things. One is require all children aged 2 and up to wear masks, and also all their employees are required to either be vaccinated or tested, just like in the public schools. So the mask requirement took effect already, I believe September 24th. The vaccine requirement is coming up soon, so they're going to need to come in compliance with that. So, and we've already sent that information to all those daycare centers within our jurisdiction, reminding them of what the responsibilities are, and we'll work with them and give them whatever guidance they need to make sure that they come in compliance. Thank you.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.